It's good. Boop. No, we're not going out. I'm talking to the cat. Morning, Bill.
Morning.
Did you get my message about Tuesdays?
Yes,
Okay.
I replied.
Oh, I guess I missed your reply. I just want to make sure you'd seen it.
Yeah. So the next two are well, we yes, yesterday and next week we are no, and then there's the 25th we're on, and the first we're off, and the
Yes.
8th we're back on again. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Good. How are things in your world this morning?
Okay.
How's your wife doing?
She's doing much better. She's walking a mile now.
Good.
And is able to, uh, with some uh, carefulness, to bend over and pick things off the floor. So that's
Yeah.
a major step. Uh,
Good.
so it's coming. I mean, there are days when she gets tired and a little achy, and then it's a matter of looking back a week or a month and realizing how far she's come. So
Yeah. Oh, good.
thanks for asking.
The those things are just slow in recovery.
So we're missing Carol this morning.
Yeah, she's got her family,
Yeah.
so as far as I know, Bill and Joanne will be here.
I also sent you a short text on the reading list from this class. I do have all of those and have dealt with them in one way or another, except for the Chuangzi, which I had at one point and started and couldn't make any headway in. Some reason or other I can't remember.
I had that experience too many years ago. Um, since then, I've come to really like it, and it's considered one of the three most important um,
Yeah,
books in Taoism. It's Mr. Bynum. Hi, Bill.
Have audio. You have audio on, Bill?
I do. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay.
Now I can hear
It
you.
seemed, yeah, it seemed to, I clicked it going on. There was a little delay. I don't,
Yeah.
always a new experience.
Every week. I turned on my computer this morning and it had a Windows update.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me, of course, do anything until I did that.
Mm-mm.
Good morning, Joanne.
Good. Yes, good morning. Life is just a little crazy today. I may need to get off about 10 o'clock. We have a small crisis in the Community Land Trust that needs some quick response.
Well, I'm glad it's a small crisis.
It could be big, but I think I've come up with an answer. But
Ah,
trying to deal with too many,
yes.
people with money, lawyers, yada, 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 Just trying to buy a house for somebody, that's all.
Oh, well.
Oh well, I'll get it done. But I do. Oh yeah. So I'll be present for an hour
All right.
or so, whatever it takes us.
Okay. All right. I loved your questions last week, Bill.
Oh,
Get more.
You said you had more.
You did. That's true.
it's an unending fount of questions, I
Why?
think.
They were so helpful.
So, anyone else have a question or comment or anything else for the start of the morning?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that. Well, I guess I do. um, in terms of thinking of our elbows, just also thinking of the corresponding knees. It's always a little harder to kind of, yes, as we have discussed many times, kind of see an exact correlation. But that just kind of,
Yeah, because the obviously in the movement we're doing, the knees are not moving nearly as much as the
that's right. Yes.
and and yet you're absolutely right. We want those movements to be coordinated and in proportion to each other. Um, I I don't quite know what else to say about that.
I think one of my questions, and it's always been a little, is that as we look at our arm and and as we look at the what are we calling in the crux here, that in terms of about that. However, when we look at our the energy that flow, the flow of the chi in our legs, I think that I am unclear at times about both the back of the knee, but then the energy coming up the inside of the legs. You get my question from me? I can
Yep.
tell from your reaction.
No, I absolutely understand what you're saying. Um, and the really the answer is that the back of the knee is part of the side of the leg.
Okay. I mean, that has occurred to me many times, but then I thought, oh, Joanne, what are you thinking?
um, no, it really we're talking about two different parts, absolutely. And but the thing is that in order for the energy to pass through the knee, the back of the knee has to be open, whether it's going up the inside or down the outside. If you allow the back of the knee to close, then that gets in the way of the passage of the energy through the knee.
Yes, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
So it's not that the energy starts up the inside of the leg, dodges to the back of the knee, and goes back to the inside of the leg. At least I hope
That
not.
never made sense to me, I have to say. I did nix that option.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the if you think about the knee, it's in the front of the knee because of the kneecap and the structure. It's all hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the back of the knee is soft and can be
Hmm.
very open if we allow it to be.
Hmm.
So, um, other explorations?
And just to follow up on that,
Hmm.
basically it's not locking the leg or the knee.
Never.
Yeah,
Right.
and are there other factors that could close the knee?
Absolutely. If you instead of yeah, if if you push the knee forward too far,
Yeah,
that
okay,
that
yeah,
can close the back of the knee. Um, so how you do bend the knee is important. So that's why when we talk about sinking down, we talk about dropping the sacrum straight to the earth,
right.
so that instead of pushing the pelvis forward, um, and I know that gets confusing because of the C curve, but I'll come back to that in a moment. Um, it, our basic thought is that we want that sacrum to go down, and not to push the hips forward so that the knee goes too far forward. At the same time, we do have the C curve occurring, so there is a slight tuck of the hips, but the whole structure of the hip still needs to go straight down in terms of the bending down. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay.
I see we have another guest behind you, David.
Yeah,
Oh, do we?
yeah,
Do we
The
have?
perfect cat pose.
yeah.
Oh, it's Moki. I didn't realize he was there.
His knees are very open.
Yeah. You know, Master Joe placed enormous emphasis on observing animals.
Yes, we've
Uh,
talked a lot in class about observing cats in particular. Yeah.
yep, cats particularly.
Hmm.
They have a great empty step.
Yep. Yes.
And amazing balance. And very rooted.
And very rooted. And very yin and yang.
Yep. Oh boy. I I think the thing that always amused me most though was watching Master Joe do push hands with his goat.
Ah! Hmm.
Although I guess it's push hands and horns with your
Yeah,
goat.
right, exactly. What are you doing?
So, um,
That was helpful, though. Thank you.
sure. So my feeling was that I wanted to repeat the practice that we did last week.
Hmm.
Um, there are a number of things that we're working on there that are really essential, and you'll find that I've um, changed and added some things this week as we go through. Um, because you are all now beginning to work at a little deeper level, um, it's really important that you open to the possibility of beginning to move the energy more deeply in the body. And I know you're all aware of that to some degree, um, but one of the things I'll mention as we go through, but it occurred to me that maybe I should mention it first because I don't think I've said it to you in this, certainly in this class anyway. And that is that when we talk about bend and stretch, there are several levels of that practice. Initially, it's clearly a physical movement, a muscular movement. Um, but we have to recognize that we're doing practices, Taoist practices, that are focused on eventually trying to let go of muscular movement. And so the next level of bend and stretch is to focus on using the ligaments and eventually the fascia in the body. And so we're talking here about getting those elements to be functional with the energy and to cause the movements of bending and stretching and allowing us to let go of the muscular movement, at least in slowly increasing degrees. You're not going to do it all at once, and I understand that. Bruce suggests that as we as you think about bend and stretch and as it begins to work with opening and closing, to think of those terms not with the original words, um, but thinking of condensing and expanding.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And that because those are related to what we're doing with the energy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so um, that I think the words help us let go of being stuck with the muscles.
Yes.
So um, uh, I throw that out to you. Any
Hmm.
did that cause questions to?
No, clarifications probably more than anything. I mean, that
Good.
is how I think of it.
Yep. Yep. Good. Okay. Well, stand up.
And
If you can, stand
yeah.
up. If not, sit down.
Well,
And let yourself settle into your basic structure. Really find where that's comfortable. Let the breathing slow and lengthen. Letting as much of the longevity breathing be present as you can allow. And then, as we discussed last week, you're going to lift your arms. They don't have to be really high. They can be at a lower angle if you prefer, if that feels better. Or they could be straight out in front of you. But with your elbow pointing downward and the arm bent about 70%. So not extended, but bent. And then pay attention to the feeling in the crook of your elbow. Let your mind become very quiet and relaxed so you can feel the crook of your elbow better. Let it be very present. And we're going to have two things we're working on. We want to get our chi to the fingertips, and you're going from the shoulder through your elbow. So now extend your arm to 70% and then bend it back. And focus on the crook of your elbow. Focus as you extend, and focus on it as you bend. And then the next thing you want is to feel your mind going through the crook of your elbow into your hand. And then as you bend, feel it coming back, going through the crook of your elbow to your shoulder. And then as you extend forward, feel your intent going through the center of your elbow joint and then going out to your fingertips. And bring your intent back in from your fingertips through the center of your elbow joint back to your shoulder. Pause and take a break. Let your arms relax. We'll go more deeply into this in a minute. And we're also going into how the fascia of your arm is going to move. And this is because Qi is going to travel along the fascia of your arm. And when you're really doing this, the ligaments of your arm are going to be moving, which is how you actually want to eventually be doing bend and stretch, rather than with the muscles. At that point, it should perhaps be called condense and release. So, since you will be doing an energetic movement instead of a physical one, and then you begin to increase the blood flow in both directions. This is because your blood and your qi are traveling together. So now bring one arm up with the elbow pointing downward and extended 70%. And get your mind inside your body. Feel your mind inside your body. And pay attention to the feeling in the crook of your elbow. Let your mind become very quiet and relaxed so you can feel the crook of your elbow better. So change arms. Feel the crook of this elbow. And then make your mind move all the way from your shoulder to the crook of your elbow. And then from your elbow, come back to your shoulder. And then make your mind go forward and back from the shoulder to the crook of your elbow. Now go back to the first arm. But move your mind from the shoulder to the middle of your elbow joint. Go back and forth. And then see if you can get your mind to go all the way from the shoulder through the crook of the elbow and the center of the elbow joint to your fingertips. Go back to the other arm. And see if you can get your mind to go all the way through your shoulder, through your crook of the elbow and the center of the joint to your fingertips, and back and forth. Now, if your intent is moving through your body, you should be getting some kind of sensation. Forget about it and sense of a sensation of chi. Just your mind going through your body is going to be activating a lot of nerves, and that's going to generate a sensation. Now go to the other arm. And now go from your spine and see if you can get your mind inside your arm, inside of it. And see if you can get your mind to go through your elbow joint. And then bring it back to the spine. Let that feeling become normal. And then from the spine, go through the center of your elbow joint and feel the crook of your elbow as you go all the way to your fingertips. And back to your spine. Now do this with the other arm. First the mind going from the spine inside the arm. And then the mind going from the spine through the elbow joint and back. And then feel the mind going through the elbow joint and the crook of the elbow all the way to the fingertips and all the way back to the spine. And go back to the first arm. But bend your elbow about 70%. And now starting from this position, you're going to do the same thing as you straighten your arm. You want to move your mind from the spine through the shoulder, through the elbow joint, and through the crook of the elbow to your fingertips. And when you're coming back, bending the arm, your mind is coming back from the fingertips through the elbow joint and the crook of the elbow, through the shoulder to the spine. And as you extend forward, feel your intent moving through each joint and then going out to the fingertips. And then bring it in from your fingertips through the center of your elbow joint and back to your shoulder and to your spine. And remember to only go 70% forward and 70% back. And you're doing this with your intent. Now go to the other arm. So again, as you straighten your arm, you're going to move your mind from the shoulder, from the spine, through the shoulder, through the elbow joint, and through the crook of the elbow to your fingertips. And when you come back, going back through all of those points, So as you extend forward, feel your intent going through each joint and out to your fingertips. And then bring it back from your fingertips through the center of your elbow joint, back to your shoulder and to your spine. We've been thinking about this like a line of pool balls, but eventually you want the movement through the arm to be like water, like a water hose that flows continuously all the way to your fingertips. So see if you can have that sense of continuously keeping it going. Going out and then pulling it back in a continuous flow. And then go to the other arm. Try to feel that continuous flow. Out and in. And feel your mind just keeping the flow going and helping to push it all the way out. And pull it all the way back in. So just relax. Actually sit down for a minute. So tell me what you did or didn't feel. What worked for you?
I felt a lot. I mean, I think because we've done this before, because we've talked about the pool ball and the hose before. I stronger than I have before. It's interesting for the in the outside of my arm. I felt I really to really feel it. I needed the pool ball image, but on the inside, I was able to just kind of feel more of the flow. And eventually I was able to feel the spiraling.
Ooh.
So I really felt that in my, kind of thinking about my fascia there. And it was pretty strong actually, most on my left side. And then so then when we went back to the right arm, I was trying to work on it more there. And I think I got there not as much as on the left side. It's always fascinating to me that, how different sides are different.
Yep, absolutely. Good. Bill or Bill?
For me, the fire hose one works. That image, which is actually one of my first introductions to anything sort of martial, was a fire hose thing at of all places, an Army Reserve meeting. A guy had been taking, I don't know what kind of martial arts he was taking, but he said, "Well, hold out your arm," and he pushed it down. Hold out your arm. Think of it as a fire hose with a water
Oh yeah,
pushing through, and then all the resistance. One of those, what I think of as sort of the Tai Chi tricks.
Yep.
But that image is powerful. I think, though, that this sort of meditation, doing it kind of one point of the five at a time and moving out through the spine and through the joints individually, certainly brought a granularity to the meditation or the mindfulness that that you don't get if you're just thinking the fire hose.
Yep.
Right.
So so I think that's, I guess, to use a digital illusion, I have a lot more pixels in play than a little zooming in kind of thing. So
Good.
and it is different from one arm to the next, and it is the idea of starting from the spine, going in and out. I'm not quite having my mind on the starting in the spine. There's some work to do there. It can feel through the shoulder and arms and going out. That connection with the spine, I was working on my shoulder blades a little bit more with that.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Is that what we're supposed? I mean, I was too. I mean, I'm assuming here that we're all connected to the scapula in this process. That we're not just trying to do something up here.
Gosh, I hope so.
Right. Okay. Just double check.
Leave no bone unturned.
For sure. Good. Anything for you, Mr. Nagel?
No, nothing at all. Yeah, a lot. Different pieces. One is that although I was following instructions to move between the shoulder and the elbow, whether it was the crook or the joint, I immediately felt the energy in my fingertips all through that. What was different this morning for me was a good amount of warmth in my upper arm. And then about, I don't know when, halfway through, the warmth and the feel of energy moving straight across the shoulders, both shoulders, obviously then through the spine. So And about the same time as that happened, my legs joined the party. And
Hmm.
I could feel the energy moving, down the outside, the inside. The quad was involved up into the lower dantian, so I had pretty good stuff going on.
Good.
Um, um, I've admittedly had trouble staying with your narrative because my body was um, doing other things. As I say, the legs and the I was at the fire hose immediately. I rebelled against the idea of the ping pong balls. So um, at any rate, I thought it was a good.
Good.
It's funny, Bill, because I have that same reaction sometimes of like, no, we don't have to do it that way. We're past that, or I'm past that. And then I just, in really listening to David, thinking about kind of going only from the shoulder to the elbow and just really trying to be disciplined about doing that and not
Yep.
what I wanted to try to do,
Yeah.
really did then kind of give me an ability to have more feelings. That's where I really began to feel the twisting.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was good that I didn't just go, oh, I don't need that, because obviously I do need that.
Yeah.
Because that is a matter of going deeper each time, right? So
Absolutely.
I
And
should also say that with the bending and extending, eventually I was aware that there was not much muscle going on. Um,
good.
um, so the intent was ruling the roost, so.
Good. Good.
the other thing I did notice is that the three of us all had our hands in different positions.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I think initially to make sure my elbows were really facing down and my hands were up, but to the side. So I did try to experiment with that a little bit,
Yeah.
because obviously, within gods, they are in all those postures,
Yeah.
in all those positions.
I did the same. I started off with my elbows, my arms closer to my body, and I felt that was probably cutting off something.
Mm.
So I moved them out a bit, and
Mm.
that seemed to help.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, that.
Look what you started, David. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm delighted with what I've started, and 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 I want you to take all of that into the form, into God's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're only moving through the arms from the spine at the moment, that's fine. But if you can get it to move elsewhere in the body at the same time, obviously that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
So play along and practice.
Oh,
Practice. Oh, is that part?
It makes a difference.
It does. It does.
Okay, guys. Well,
Great. Thank you.
any last minute thoughts or questions? Okay, thank you.
No.
David.
Thank you.
Have a great
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
You also, David. And
Yep. Everyone.
Yes. So, David, I do need to go. But I just, I didn't practice as much as I would have liked to. But I think that what I'm really trying to do in the flow is let's go back over that, both first, but mostly second paragraph, to just be more consistent in terms of not speeding up, particularly not speeding up. I do have the speed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so just kind of trying to slow it all down to an even pace. So
Yep.
and then it is easier, obviously, to be more aware of not, because I'm still unlearning a few things particularly in cloud hands, so just putting that smoothness back in it. So just to say that I did that several times this week. Just kind of, even if I don't have a lot of time to practice, just even a couple of times, like, spread out, just kind of keeps it alive,
Yeah, absolutely.
And is easier than, to not, forget, and to just build on that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah.
So I should have a little bit more time. I would say that should have a little bit more time this week. Fewer early morning meetings in the coming week. So, but that was helpful. So yes,
Good.
Should be doing that. And then I think from what Carol said, we probably won't be in person next week either, because she's got the kids.
Yeah.
Whether she's on Zoom or not, I'm not sure, but I will be. I will be available. I will be here.
Oh, good.
Okay.
All right. Well,
very good. Yeah, thanks. Sorry I can't stay for this, but I really do need to go deal with
well, good luck with whatever you're dealing with there.
Yeah, it's just, we've been trying to help buy this house for this person, and we buy the land and they buy the house, but the CHFA has changed rules, and the mortgage guy at Homestead is not being as helpful as we think he should be, and our lawyer is like not questioning him like we think she should be, and yada yada yada. And we've had 4 options for how to move forward on this. Few have been cut off, but when we thought last night, we said to the people, sorry, we don't think we can do this. And they were like, oh, we really want you to push forward. So I didn't sleep well last night, and I think I came up with an idea. So like at 8:15 this morning, I was trying to type up this idea to get to people so that doors don't close that people don't want closed. So there's like a time factor here to kind of make sure, because there's like 4 or 5 parties involved in this. It's not easy, and then we don't know what the mortgage market's going to be like in a month, right? So that's the other problem.
Yeah.
Is that, we don't want him to lose what down payment assistance he can get, but we've also got money that we can buy the land for him, so yada yada yada. So anyway, so that's why I'm just trying to make sure that people don't just kind of assume that it's dead in the water, since I came up with a couple of other thoughts here. Well, maybe they'll fly, maybe they won't, but it's worth a try. So
yeah. Well, good luck.
Okay. Thank you. See you later. It was lovely to have the cat there. Especially at one point, my eyes were closed, and I looked up, and there was the cat in your arms.
Yeah. He just jumped in my lap and said, I want to stay a while.
They do that, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. All right. Thank you, David.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.